Storm just made her MCU debut in the final 2 episodes of Season 3 of Marvel's What If series, and oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about. I'm not gonna go into the whole series or even this whole season because honestly, I don't really care about the show. I'm really just here to talk about Storm. But in order to talk about Storm's appearance, I really have to set the stage for you guys and give you some context. A few weeks ago, we learned that Storm would be making an appearance in Marvel's What If Season 3, particularly her Goddess of Thunder variant. She's one of 4 members of the Exiles team. No, not that Exiles team. This is a completely original team made up of 2 original What If characters, Captain Carter and Storm. We first encounter them as they're fighting a giant cosmic squid. And no, it's not Shumagorath. I thought it was, a lot of people thought it was, it's not. It's just a big ass squid that's posing a multi-dimensional threat. And I am so glad it's not Shuma because this thing got taken out so fast. I think Shuma in Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness even fared better than this guy. If you're wondering who the other characters are, this is Kahari, who's a Native American character who gained powers from the Tesseract. And this is Birdie, the daughter of Howard the Duck and Darcy. And believe it or not, that's actually one of the better episodes of What If that we got this season. She was born during the Convergence, which apparently means that she gets born with all the powers.
Howard the baby!
Okay.
Storm shows up in an appropriately dramatic fashion and helps to lay waste to the giant squid. Then they find these dimension shards falling from the sky, which come from the Watcher, who's getting hemmed up by the other Watchers because they're tired of him breaking his oath to not interfere with the lives of lower beings. So they use the dimensional shards to power their spaceship so that they can go to the 5th dimension and help him. At least they would if they could. They all tried different methods, nothing is able to crack these things. So Captain Carter has the idea to go get the help of Infinity Ultron, who destroyed all life in his universe in the hopes that it would bring about ultimate peace. Spoiler alert, it didn't. So they go to Infinity Ultron, who is infinitely sad because, breaking news, wiping out all life doesn't make things peaceful, it just makes them quiet, boring, and lonely. So to assuage the fact that he's literally forever alone, he decides to help the Exiles go help the Watcher by taking the shards into himself and becoming the new engine of their ship. So they go to the Watcher's 5th dimension to break your boy out, but SpaghettiOs, they're not strong enough and they all almost get wiped. Until our Watcher decides to induct the Exiles into the Watcher clan by having them take the Watcher's oath. Or a Cliff Notes version, basically. I mean, they're under duress, so he didn't have time to go through the whole thing. But they say enough for it to work, so now they all have Watcher-like powers. They can do all type of crazy cool shit, and it's like a 15-minute long fight scene, which is actually pretty cool. I didn't really care because I haven't watched this show since season 1, and like halfway through season 1 at that. But it was a good spectacle. But even that's not enough to beat them, because even though the Exiles are better at fighting, the Watchers are better at using them phenomenal cosmic powers. So they combine themselves to become one big Watcher who's about to wipe all of the Exiles out of existence across all the multiverse, meaning they will have never existed. And it almost works until Captain Carter remembers that she has plot armor and wills herself back into existence. No, that is not an exaggeration. She is being erased, and she just decides to stop being erased.
Okay.
Then she flies up and does a universal shield bash against the Watchers collective, so powerful that she becomes the universe. Or something like that. Also, she knocks them all into a universe where Doctor Strange is already the universe, because he sacrificed himself back in season 2. So, you know how some people say God is in everything? God's in the plants, the trees, the wind, the farts, the raccoons, the all that. Doctor Strange is literally the universe here, and he makes the rules. So, he makes it so that the evil Watchers can't use their powers, so effectively, they have to just sit there and wait for death. Only our Watcher, whose name is Uatu, says, nah, I don't want to kill y'all, I just want you to chill. And the head Watcher's all like, damn, guess you really are a dope Watcher then, huh? And then the Watcher goes, yeah, you right, but you could be one too. And then the head Watcher's like, yeah, dope ass sunset. Or something like that. Then they go back and eulogize the fallen Captain Carter, who saved the multiverse with the power of friendship and sheer willpower, along with some good old plot armor by way of her being the protagonist. But because she pretty much became the universe or the multiverse at the end, she's not really dead, just no longer physically present. And so they usher her shield down into the halls of the fifth dimension, where the Watcher and the Exiles then ponder once again, for the last time, what if? And we are treated to a series of examples of crazy what if scenarios, all of which look like they would have made better episodes than what we got. We got Samurai Ghost Rider, we got Punisher Ironheart, we got Weapon X Thanos. Weapon X Thanos?
What were you thinking shutting this operation down? It could have been great!
Let's get into the nitty gritty and talk about what we all really care about. How was Storm done? Let's start basic and talk about her outfit. Pretty basic Asgardian Storm-esque look. It's like if she slid Thor's vest over her current white and gold bodysuit and cut the sleeves off. But it's not a bad look by any means. But if you are expecting a more straightforward adaptation of one of Storm's looks from when she's been the Asgardian goddess of thunder in the comics, you're not gonna find that here. In fact, there's really nothing about this version that ties directly to either of those versions. We don't know if her hammer is Stormcaster or Mjolnir. She doesn't make any mention at all to Thor or Loki or how she got the powers. She probably came from a universe where she was just always Asgardian. Alison Seeley Smith, as you already know, reprised her role as the Weather Witch, and she did a good job overall, but it definitely still heavily leans into the dramatic at all times vibes, just like in the animated series and X-Men 97. I know some of you guys watching would rather Storm have a more natural delivery that just leans into theatrics when appropriate, but it's not so bad that I think it equals a bad performance. Speaking of things from X-Men the Animated Series, there are multiple sound cues where the X-Men original theme chimes in, as well as Storm's own theme that was debuted in X-Men 97. You know the one. I have to shout out the fact that this Storm is genuinely and overtly magical and divine. I mean, duh, she calls herself Goddess of Thunder as her opening line. But she's not just a goddess in name alone. When they're trying to crack open the shards of dimensional energy to harness its power, she calls upon the Asgardian gods. And it's the exact same energy that she has in the comics when evoking her own ancestors or gods like Bast. Now, because this is the Asgardian goddess of thunder, you don't hear her name drop any of her dope ancestors like Ashake or Aisha, but it's still good to see. And I think this is the first time she's ever done anything like this in animation. And it's in an episode of What If. Bittersweet victory indeed, but baby steps are still steps forward. So on the surface, there really was a lot to enjoy about this version. But once you start to get a little deeper, personally, I got a few issues. First off, this is an ensemble cast. So for everyone who was hoping to get some individual Storm dopeness here, there really isn't a whole lot to look forward to. She does have a couple of cool power moments, and of course all these big power moments come complete with her power speeches. But because Storm is a recent addition to the cast here, she often doesn't get very many moments to shine. They knew that Storm was going to be a fan favorite, but then they also had these other cast members. I don't think Storm was so much sidelined, but it's the same problem we've talked about when it comes to her appearances in the X-Men. Whenever she's part of the ensemble cast, she's going to fade into the background a bit. And to be honest, the way Storm was hyped up in all the promo material talking about season 3 really made it seem like we were gonna get a Storm-focused episode. Like they were straight up gonna adapt her becoming the Asgardian goddess of thunder or something like that. Or that we would see her get Mjolnir from Thor. But I know what y'all are asking for, and it's time for us to address it. What about the powers? What we got was good, but considering what we could have gotten, it was kind of underwhelming.
Let me explain.
This is
Storm, goddess of thunder, mistress of the cosmic elements.
so she should be capable of doing things that are far beyond what she does in her base form. But we really don't see her doing anything of that level, let alone anything beyond. Take her big lightning tornado that she threw at Notch Shamagorath, for example. She conjured that up specifically using solar winds.
I summon the flares of the solar wind.
But when you look at it, you wouldn't know. Just looks like regular wind. Now compare this moment to the times in the comic books where she's conjured up solar winds. Even these pages from the classic Uncanny X-Men, which saw her using solar winds for the first time, made it look more impressive than how it looked in What If. I mean, just look up some different depictions of solar wind from different art pieces or sci-fi properties. That's how I expected Storm's solar wind moves to look here. And the solar wind thing was base Storm, even before she started getting a bunch of divine or mystic power-ups. Make it make sense. Now when the exiles get their Watcher power-up from Uatu, Storm's power does undergo an increase. She gets way more handy with the hammer, whatever its name is, and starts putting in work on her adversaries. She even calls down a massive cosmic energy tornado that sucks up 2 of the enemy Watchers during the fight. And that comes after she destroyed one of their weapons with her own hammer. But that's pretty much it. And when compared to what her other teammates are pulling off, you really start to see how Storm got the short end of the power stick in this episode. And trust me, I get it. I have said on this channel multiple times how Storm, in my opinion, is destined to be nerfed perpetually outside the comics. But what makes this one so egregious is that those other times, she's fighting on Earth, so she's always going to operate within the existing balance of nature and with respect for innocent life. But this scenario threw all that to the wind. They're not on Earth, she doesn't have any innocence to worry about, definitely not during their fight with the Watchers because they're on some random moon, and the only people around her that she has to worry about are her friends and teammates who are all as strong as her. And you get what should be the first legit chance that we've had to see Storm cut loose. Also, I have to point out the fact that What If is yet another example of writers only giving Storm 2 elements to work with.
Goddess of thunder, mistress of the cosmic elements.
Who gives a shit?
Meanwhile, you've got Captain Carter doing ground pounds with her shield that cause cosmic eruptions, Kahori grabbing Watchers and running them around the galaxy, and even Birdie was pulling out some dope shit with solar-powered cannon drills straight out of Cammy's moveset from Street Fighter while bathing in pure sunlight. These guys are teleporting, transmuting, they're just doing anything and everything that they possibly can to stop these guys. So the fact that they're doing all this cool shit and the best they could have Storm do was be Thor but better, be your normal self but a little bit better. No, man, I'm sorry. That's just, oh my god, that is such a ball drop moment, guys. Especially since she's not the main character, so it's not like we're gonna get a bunch of dope character moments. You may as well lean on the spectacle of things. It's What If. We're here for that shit anyway. But no, we just had to hold back and say, hey, we're gonna put this fan favorite character in the show who was an absolute unit and could blow everybody away literally, and we're barely even gonna have her blow everybody away figuratively. What we did get was good, but it could have been so much better.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
I really do need to get on that whole Storm-led X-Men movie trilogy that I was talking about a few months ago. That's definitely coming in 2025. I just have to. The streets need some solid Storm action written by someone who actually wants to do the Weather Witch Goddess justice. Let me know what you thought about this. Am I wrong? And was this an actual W of W's? Or did I not go hard enough against this version of Storm? Either way, let me know in the comments, and then click on this video right here to get more Weather Witch Goddessness in your life. And then you and I can ponder the real question. What if Storm's powers were adapted accurately? Keep simping.